Time to chillax, as it were. The Moonlight Alcove, where we just chill for a while, you know. You once again find yourself amid the quiet nooks of the Moonlight Alcove. Here you await the time until the stars deign to shine for you again. I almost wonder if it'd be better just to keep adventuring non-stop, because then you get all this cool stuff, because we get stuff so fast when we're adventuring. The last rest was a long time, I think. It probably will be again. There's no one in here this time. Nope. Bide your time. We have returned to a place of respite. Please make yourselves comfortable, such as you can. We are at the mercy of the stars, but I expect they shall shine bright again in time. As for me, I shall return by then, for there is something I must do. There, from atop the sacred mountain, you gaze down into the abyss that is the downside. You wonder when the stars shall align themselves once more. When do we get a bog and a sap? There, upon the sacred mountain, you and your companions once more await the night the stars begin to shine again. The plan, of which you are all a part of, is set in motion. The Commonwealth, a nation that stood almost for 8,000 years, is in turmoil. If your companions return there through the liberation rites, what sort of place shall they be coming back to? Many moons pass. One evening, amid a downpour with no interest whatsoever in relenting, Volfred requests everybody to convene. You understand he has an announcement of some sort. Soon, everyone is assembled, and Volfred regards the group. A new chapter. Everyone, there is an aspect of our plan which I've not talked about with you at length. Look around at your companions. What do you see in them? He lets the question hang in a moment for the air. Hang a moment in the air. I'll tell you when I see it. I'll tell you what I see in all of you, in all of us. I see in all of us a living vision of the 8 scribes themselves, each one among them hailing from the different tribes which later formed our Commonwealth. My observation does not come from pompousness, I think. Rather, I believe the scribes themselves desired, or shall I say desire, such a course. Together, they created all this ceremony of which we're now a part. The exiles, liberated through the rites, went on to found the Commonwealth, based on their values and their teachings. The Commonwealth was created by exiles? Exiles from what? Was there a different group before the Commonwealth? I thought the Commonwealth was just the government. Thus, an instrumental aspect of our plan is to embody the spirit and the culture from which the Commonwealth arose so many centuries ago. That way, when we are all united on the other side in solidarity, the people all shall see that we reflect the values they yet cherish in their hearts, not merely our own. Anyway, we are still missing one key representative. On behalf of Molten Millith, and I happen to know a certain bog dweller who I think shall fit the part most splendidly indeed. Fourthly, it scribes the Book of Rites, known as the Impassioned or the Wild Witch, the mistress of fire and dust, claimed she could shatter the world with a flick of her wrist. That's not very nice. He motions for someone to approach. A certain bog dweller slithers forward. You recognize her straight away. Of course it's Bertrude. It's the only bog dweller we've met before, besides the evil nightmare one. It is my pleasure to introduce to you a dear old friend of mine, whom I believe you met. Welcome to the Nightwings, Bertrude. The bog dweller, called Big Bertrude, utters something guttural by way of greeting. We are to understand that ye require further aid from us. Yes, dear Bertrude. The time has come. Bertrude here is far and away the most accomplished alchemist whom I have ever met. you soon will find that she knows much more about the rites as well. Bertrude looks at you and your fellow exiles, each in turn. We frighten ye, apparent. Everyone is silent as Bertrude searches their expressions. Then tremble, small ones, and hold well thy tongues, lest we remove them. She takes her leave without another word. Please excuse Bertrude's blunt manner. I guarantee she shall more than make up for it. Everyone disperses. It seems now the ranks of the Nightwings are complete. Bertrude joins the group. You sense her powerful presence. How are the ranks complete? We don't have a sap. Because he won't take part in the games. Unless the only thing that counts is just him being along for the ride and part of the plan, but doesn't one of them have to be in the game so we can liberate them? Welcome aboard. Now then, my boy, perhaps you notice the stars are bright once more up there behind those stubborn reins, meaning it is time we go back to business. Indeed, once more, several stars shine bright within the cold and stormy sky. I feel like it would have been easier to get to Bertrude if we just flew to her instead of waiting here, and you having to presumably go there on foot. And by boat? The stars themselves await the will of the Nightwings. Choose your path towards salvation! So both teams are defeated or just gone now, aren't they? It seems like the ranking means that they can no longer ever possibly reach the top again. Yeah, they're staying at 0. I thought Tempers was reset to 0, but I thought they'd get back up, but they apparently haven't. They've just stayed at 0 the entire time, which makes me wonder if the Withdrawn will also stay at 0. I mean, if there's anyone in this group I'd be okay with losing to, it'd probably be Fate. It's probably not a bad one. Most of these people suck. Although the Accusers, let's see, what's their definition? They have a grudge against the Nightwings. Their righteous transitions may give way to ruthlessness and spite. Yeah. Basically, the Dissidents and the Accusers are just assholes, which is a step down from the other people, which like, the Pyre Hearts and Chastity both show signs of just being, like, straight up, corrupt, basically. And, like, just the worst people. Whereas the Nightwing, the Dissidents and Accusers are just assholes. And Essence and Fate are, we don't have a lot to go on there. I mean, Essence is our enemy, but, like, they're enemy of the Commonwealth specifically, but not, like, necessarily straight up evil the way that the Withdrawn probably were. Well, the Tempers were literally just... The Tempers were just a group of people that are, like, thuggish, I guess. They're basically identical to the Dissidents, as far as I could tell. Where, like, how it just probably would not matter if they won, as opposed to... The only downside of them winning is that my guys don't get out. Alright, we're at 40% for now. I'm glad that I've defeated the Withdrawn, and they seem to have withdrawn. We can go after this guy, Chastity. He seems nice. Oh, there you are. I might go after you just to fight you again, because you've disappeared for so long. You suck. Yeah, all the other stars are gone for now. I might go after him just to see some follow-up story, just for him being still around. I haven't had, yeah, for story reasons, I just want to see follow-up on this guy. Again, we are to face the demon Ignarius and his brutes, the Tempers. He is living proof of how the rites favor raw strength of will and body. Wolford then offers you such details as he knows of your next adversary. Ignarius, a long-time resident of the Downside, as evidenced by his appearance. The strongest of the Tempers. He has waited years to earn his freedom. Why didn't you tell us this before the first time we went against him, when it was going to be the determining factor of our first rites? Are the inside of the core of his horn green? Huh. Born to a middling Commonwealth family, he got into trouble early and often, but found his calling in the Commonwealth's not entirely legal red light district. There he took many jobs, most involving his sheer size. Most notably, he was a bouncer at the Starry Eight, where he came to symbolize its reputation. Starry Eight, an infamous tavern in the Commonwealth. It is widely believed the Commonwealth officials sometimes showed up incognito here to blow off steam. One day, a particularly belligerent guest got under his skin, so he gave him a tremendous thrashing. The club clientele all gave a cheer. However, this guest turned out to be a wealthy chamberlain, who then exploited his connections to have Ignarius arrested and then exiled. This was 14 years ago. In the downside, Ignarius dropped his given name, and as is sometimes the custom, and has survived alone through his tenacity and strength. In time, he drew the notice of the Tempers, who revealed to him the rites, recruited him into the ranks, and let him work his way up. Now at last, it is his turn. Ignarius struggles to return to a place that wants nothing to do with somebody like him. He should never have been exiled. Anyway, my boy, I'm off to rest. Oh. See, Ignarius isn't so bad. He's just another brutish character that made his way in the Commonwealth, then got exiled for not entirely reasonable reasons, and just through honest work rose up the ranks within one of the factions to regain his freedom. Like, it sucks. Like, the enemies in this game are just not genuinely evil most of the time, so it's like kind of a bummer to make your guys win at their cost. But of course you want your guys to win. You wish a good night to Volfred. Your travels shall continue at first light. Who's talking? Oh, right. It would have to be you, wouldn't it? You find Big Bertrude looking about the black wagon in a disapproving way. She fixes her gaze on you. Her expression does not change. Such a clutter added to this wagon, since we looked upon it last, unsightly. We remember thee from our abode in flagging hands. Then thou must be the reading one of whom Sandalwood referred. She moves in close, studying you. You recall that the mere touch of a bog crone of the southern bogs can induce paralysis or worse. Southern bogs, a distant region of the Commonwealth left well alone despite technically being part of the nation. The cold and forbidding marshlands are home to the bog dwellers of Sar, colloquially known as crones. That one such as thee can extract meaning from the tome. 'Twas a feat we wished to witness for ourselves. Thy flesh has seen but the smallest fraction of the years which ours withstood, and yet we are expected to believe that thou canst understand the books of rites. Then she backs away, for someone else has joined you. Hail, Bertrude, madame. Is everything to your liking at this time, or is there something more which you require? We have been unable to locate a supply of rotworm gizzard extract among thy belongings. Other than that, we shall lodge no complaint at present. It is possible that Volfred has a small supply among his possessions here. If you would care to accompany me, we may yet procure some. That would be agreeable with us. Then after you, madame. As they depart, you think you see the Lord Minstrel nod his head your way. We'll make do with this character. Rites of the Flame. From Solium Mur, last of his name. With these blackened nails do I hereby inscribe the rites of flame. The bylaws shall be written here in full. We, the Eight, decree the rites attest to one's true worth in body, mind, and spirit. Now, until the stars abandon us, this shall be binding law within the downside. Those deemed worthy in the rites are to regain their freedom from the downside and return from whence they came. Exiles shall conduct the rites as one of 9 triumvirates, and look toward the skies for guidance on their path. Exiles shall bear this book as status. There more? Oh, it's the whole. It's the whole. Right, it's Solium Mur's chapter. We have more because there's the whole chapter now. Essential structure. The essential structure of a rite shall be as follows: where chosen by the stars within the dark of night, shall 2 triumvirates stand in opposition, far enough afield, beside their constructed pyre symbolizing their resolve. In each triumvirate, the 3 shall act as one, to demonstrate their trust in one another, not just in themselves. The triumvirate shall endeavor to extinguish the pyre of the adversary, whose flames are only to be staunched through a celestial orb descended from the stars. Whomsoever pyre remains burning shall prevail. The triumvirates are to disperse. Searching the stars. We, the 8, have seen the turning of the stars from now until the ending of our age. Heed their guidance and ours. The stars take many cyclic turns. The rites commence at their behest. Upon celestial landmarks, where the downside's greater titans fell before the heavens. Bearing this, the book bestowed on your triumvirate, you, the reader, shall perceive under which stars you are to congregate. Follow where they lead, as your adversaries shall. If either of you fails to appear, then neither of you walks the path. Whether you prevail or you fail, from that point the stars shall guide you on. That's an interesting thing, is like, we all oppose each other in the rites, but we all need each other to do the rites. So you have to have an opponent or you can't progress. Like, we have to, it's like a weird form of cooperative competition. Before each rite. The rite shall not commence unless the necessary preparations are complete at a celestial landmark, ere the stars align. Exiles shall conduct the rites bearing the book, of which there are but 40 copies, each bound in astral hide. Exiles shall bear the sacred raiments, fashioned in our likeness at the summit of Mount Elodiel. Their identities are to be concealed, for they shall represent us all. Exiles shall set a metal sigil for their pyre, and consecrate the grounds using the words the 8 scribes gave their freedom, so that we may yet have ours. The heavens shall respond when all is set. Law of 3. During the rite, each triumvirate shall act as one, unerringly and without question. The disobedient shall suffer banishment or permanent expulsion. Exiles shall move as of a single mind, to demonstrate their faith, and recognize that they, as we the 8, cannot prevail alone. Their worth shall be determined both by their actions and their peers. Triumvirates lacking experience in this may designate a reader, whose focus on this book may help the others to coordinate. However, only those who shall conduct the rites first-hand shall walk the path toward enlightenment, and become eligible to regain their freedom. So there's the thing that we hadn't reached yet, which we only now reached this far in the game, that Volfred conferred in us, was the idea that only the people that take part in the rites can actually go back. Readers can't. And also, it also kind of explains how this game works on a mechanical level. It's very hard to figure out how it would work in the actual universe of the game necessarily, but in this game, only one person on each team can ever move at any given moment. And it gets really... like, that's how the game works, because only one person is controlling each team, and all the other characters stand perfectly still when you're not controlling them. That makes sense on a mechanical level, but yeah, the book tries to explain that, why it's happening in universe, and that is confusing to think about. Like, they somehow must have such a strong connection that they can tell exactly when someone's going to move or not move without ever breaking the rules somehow, or maybe the rights somehow give them the ability to only move one at a time, like walkie-talkies, like only one person can talk, or the rights just, or the idea is that the reader is literally taking control of them. Except I don't think the other groups even have readers. I think it's just the Nightwings. So it's really weird. It's one of those things that I just try not to think about too much, because it's really hard to contextualize how it works in universe. The Burning Pyre. At the appointed time, at the aligning of the stars, the heavens shall rain down upon the ground sufficiently prepared, and thus the 2 opposing pyres shall be set ablaze. Thus shall commence the rite. Triumvirates are to protect their pyres as they would their lifeblood. Lifeblood itself is never to be shed before, during, or after any rite, lest the disobeyer suffer permanent expulsion. Exile is injury enough. The rite is an act of mercy. That's a really good rule. You literally can't fight at any point in this entire process, period. And if you do that, you will lose your freedom, which is a huge punishment. And because it's a huge punishment, it makes it so that nobody makes the mistake of doing anything more than talking. Otherwise, there's so much you could do to rig this stuff and fight in illegitimate means to make certain outcomes happen, because you could sabotage individual human beings by doing horrible things outside of the games, but then the gods would know and they would expel you from the rites, and then nobody wants to take that chance. Fear not the purifying flame. Plunge into it headlong and without fear, for you shall be protected by the stars themselves. Seek freedom in the flame. the aura. Exiles bearing the raiments and this book reveal their hidden inner aura in the color of their flame. The aura is the exile's solitary weapon in the rites. Should one's adversary cross one's aura, the adversary shall be banished. Banishment is fleeting nonetheless. Seek the Pyre's light and thus make your return. The exile's presence shapes the aura. Exiles gain greater auras while standing side by side with their triumvirates, for we gain strength together. Exiles may cast their aura through sheer force of focus on this book. Maybe everyone does have a reader. I'm just trying to think of like how everybody else is able to figure out where to go for the rites, so maybe they themselves also have readers that we just don't ever meet. The Celestial Orb. As the two flames are lit, so shall the Celestial Orb fall from the heavens. But one such orb shall be availed by the stars, requiring triumvirates to vie for it. Its cosmic connection to the flames, the raiments in this book, bestows the necessary qualities for its bearer to prevail. Effortlessly sails the orb between the three in a triumvirate. It seeks the grasp of whoever acts among the three. Once grasped, the orb shall draw within it all the bearer's aura. Fueled by the triumvirate's own flame, it is to be cast into the flame. The Path. In each rite we gain enlightenment. Whether we prevail or we fail, indeed, through failure do we tend to learn the most valued lessons, provided we survive. None among us have prevailed without end. Exiles who walk the path toward enlightenment shall at times be struck by an epiphany, and achieve mastery in some respect. Choose well amongst these blessing we bestow, thus you may yet achieve your potential and surpass your adversaries. Whenever you prevail, your triumvirate earns favor. In time, the triumvirate with the most favor shall be summoned to Liberation Rite to earn a chance at freedom. Then the cycle begins anew. Liberation. The Liberation Rite takes place upon the fall of Solium under a blooded moon, witnessed by the heralds from the stars. There, the most favored triumvirate shall confront the one which we appoint. These two triumvirates first shall pass through Scribe's Gate, where their worth shall be assessed under the stars. Only the most enlightened exiles within each triumvirate may be anointed for a chance at freedom. 2 of their companions shall support them whilst they strive. The anointed champion of the triumvirate, which prevails then, shall plunge into the Shimmer Pool and return in glory. And thus concludes the chapter of Solium, at least for now, explaining the various mechanics of the rites at a weirdly late period of the game, but okay, in case you were unclear about anything, there we have it. It's interesting how cooperative the entire process is, because you have to gain your enlightenment by competing against the community as a whole for several matches, traveling the entirety of the downside. I almost said Downwell, that's a different video game. And then you have to, with your teammates, face off against another team for a final match, where not only do you have to have your mutual struggle against the other enlightened team in order to have the option to have yourself potentially be liberated, but you have to do so with 2 allies that both know that they will not be liberated in the process, and you will be liberated and leaving them forever, and they will have to find somebody else to replace you, and so on. Like, there's a lot of, like, collective cooperation going on where people are just accepting the rules so they can move forward. Bertrude's decks. Unusual etched cards depicting the Greater Titans, probably for curses and enchantments. So she has tarot cards, essentially. Oh yeah, she's gonna have a page now. Look at all of that green she's got. That'll take a while to burn through, because I think you can only burn through that much green at a time, like that much. So she has like twice as much, and you have like 4 or 5 times as much, like a whole level of it. So she'll level significantly faster in the process of trying to catch up. The Serpent Queen. She is a bog dweller once feared and respected in the Commonwealth for her sorceress work. I've been looking forward to getting a character like Bertrude, because I want that shotgun blast. As a defensive character, like, I figure she'll probably fill a similar role as Jodariel, as a defensive character that's really slow and crappy and stays in the back but has a big attack. But she has a shotgun blast that's a lot hard for some of the enemies to evade. Although we'll see if the machine precision of the enemy makes it so that they can magically, like, perfectly thread the needle or something. So she has less glory than Jadariel, and she's twice as fast. Less presence, but she has a shotgun blast attack. Identical amounts of hope, which is exceptionally low considering the bonuses to hope that I've already attributed to the group. I can only do glory, presence, and hope, right? Or was it quickness, presence, and hope? I'm trying to I can only upgrade 3 of them, right? And I don't think one of them was glory. That'd be too valuable. I think I would have upgraded glory if I could have. Or maybe I forgot. But hope seemed decent to get people to return faster. I might go into that stuff again soon as people get higher and higher level, that they might need tutelage less, but she might need one or two good rounds of tutelage just to catch up. Might be a good idea. So she fires the wedge blast, she pounces at people across distances, and she slithers. Makes her go faster but with less control. She is a bog dweller of considerable notoriety here in the downside, and runs a sort of business bearing her own name. She has a forbidding way about her, but her respect for Volfred is evident, and even borders on affection. She seems to know much of the Rites, despite not having conducted them prior to joining forces with you. Their entry on Crones, bog-dwelling serpentine races known for their bluntness, stubbornness, and wisdom. Either the Commonwealth tolerated the Crones of the southern bogs, or the other way around. That's funny. The Crones just tolerated the Commonwealth itself. Alchemists, the Commonwealth tolerated the bog dwellers desired for the product of their sorcerous trade. The bog dwellers on the outskirts of the Commonwealth performed profane experiments with little supervision. Everything else would be unknown. For now. Need a chance to dig deeper. Oh wait. I don't know if I've checked on... I don't know if I've checked on you in this location. Oh well. Not now. I'm not letting you completely cut yourself off that easily. You rise early that morning, though Bertrude is already awake. She scowls at you. Good morning, reader. Bertrude, I trust your stay has not been too uncomfortable. Nay, Sandalwood, the comforts of this place are not for us. Fly us forth from here to lower ground. Let us get on with all of this. The reader here shall do so once the group is ready. I thank you for your patience. Well, at least they're patient. They have that going for them. Twunk. Let's go collide with people in midair because I'm a bad person. Or I just like dialogue. Ooh, what's that? Soaring far above the Sklorian shore, you notice Pamitha gazing down at the frozen cliffs below. Sklorian shore, a frozen oasis tucked between the chaos of Waking Wood and the sacred Mount Alodiel. A place to pause and reflect before a grueling mountain climb. That damned place down there. I like it least of all, I think. Among everywhere we've been, I'm thankful there's been no reason to return. Reminds me of my home is all. The high-wing remnants. We all grew accustomed to the thinner air amid the cliffs that breaches the clouds above your commonwealth. But it was not the nicest place. Little wonder that my sisters settled for a rather warmer base of operations in this land, there, by the nest of Triestra. Anyway, I'm pleased to have to spend as little time as possible near here. Let's fly on by and go about our business.